Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Macro thoughts start with this, the Baltic Dry Index. Thank you, Holger. He always tweets great graphs. Has hit fresh lows. And I think the point with the Baltic Dry Index, it's really a key indicator for trade. It's telling us that trade is not going anywhere. If you didn't see my piece over the weekend, it was called The House of Cards. Do take a look. Home thoughts start with this photograph by David Yarrow. Photographed last year. This was a big morning in the Amboseli as a huge herd crossed the dry lake, a majestic sight. And then I like this photograph I found in The Guardian, Convergence of the Tribes by Marie Wilkinson and Cyril Christo, and the elephants in the same shot. And finally, a photograph I took in September 2013. Look at the backside of this elephant, which crossed just in front of us. It's really impressive, light as a feather, did not make a sound. I'm reading The Buried Giant, which is by Kazuo Ishiguro. It really is a tremendous book. If you get a chance, do read it. I'll just look for a quote or two for you. You stand with remarkable boldness for a humble shepherd. It must be the habit of my trade. A shepherd must stand long hours, watchful of wolves gathering in the night. No doubt that's so. I imagine too how a shepherd must judge quickly, hearing a sound in the dark if it heralds danger or the approach of a friend. Much must rest on the ability to make such decisions quickly and well. Only a foolish shepherd hears a snapping twig or spots a shape in the dark and assumes a companion come to relieve him. We're a cautious breed, and what's more, sir, I've just now seen with my own eyes the device in your barn. You have to go and look at the story. I've copied a much longer transcript. It gives you a flavour of the book, and it really is tremendous. I must say, Political Reflections, Boutros Ghali. This is a photograph in 1992 at the Dorchester Hotel in London, and he's passed away. And of course, he was the UN Secretary General that the Americans did not renew. A Christian Egyptian, in point of fact, an African. And just made me think, in this sort of sectarian world, would he have ever gotten the Arab vote today? This got me refugees in the Arctic. Look at this photograph. When I saw my room, I felt I was blessed. Pope Francis, of whom I'm a great admirer, says, I prefer a family with a tired face from sacrifices made rather than a pretty one which is unfamiliar with tenderness and compassion. Now, China has deployed an advanced surface-to-air missile system to one of the disputed islands it controls in the South China Sea. A US defense official also confirmed the apparent deployment of the missiles, first reported by Fox News. Images from civilian satellite company ImageSat International show 2 batteries of 8 surface-to-air missile launchers, as well as a radar system, according to Fox News. Chinese military have deployed an advanced, this is the photograph that was published on Fox News. I concluded by saying, well, China is continuing to push the envelope, aiming at a fait accompli. But more importantly, it's quite a pointed response, isn't it, to President Obama's Sunnylands ASEAN powwow. Put up a photograph of his powwow, and then also a photograph of Sunnylands Rancho Mirage. It looks a lovely place, doesn't it? Putting America's defense spending into perspective, have a look at this infographic. You can can see that the US outpaces everyone else in the world by quite a margin. I would point out that it seems Russia has spent its money quite wisely in this regard. Of course, Russia will not stop supporting Assad until Aleppo is taken or liberated, however you choose to describe it. Syria's ceasefire deal was born in Munich in the early hours of Friday morning and pronounced dead in the same town within a day, a development that exposed just how little influence the US now has over the conflict. Quoting Philip Hammond, probably the smartest take on the deal when he divided it into two parts during the annual Munich Security Conference, which began hours after the deal was signed. One part to deliver humanitarian aid to besieged civilians will probably happen to some extent. I think it's happening now, and would surely be a worthwhile achievement. The other, a potential truce, is entirely dependent on what Russia wants, Hammond said. That's a stunning admission in itself. Of course, Russia will not stop supporting Assad until Aleppo is taken or liberated, however you choose to describe it, said Lukyanov. This is an absolutely crucial issue, both for Syria's future stability and for Russia to demonstrate that the whole operation made sense. You need some kind of spectacular event of the scale of retaking Aleppo to do that. Putin, however, doesn't have to test Turkey's limits. Once Aleppo's future is more or less settled, he can back a ceasefire and turn his air power and Assad's ground troops on Islamic State in their headquarters, Raqqa. That would not only be a second spectacular event with which to declare victory, but would also split the West and the region over his intervention in Syria. In addition, it would leave Assad, rather than any US or Turkish-backed rebels, in control of territory abandoned by Islamic State. Already there are indications Assad is preparing such an assault. On the 5th of October last year, I wrote that piece about Putin being a geopolitical grandmaster. And I said, quoted Lavrov, if it looks like a terrorist, if it acts like a terrorist, if it walks like a terrorist, if it fights like a terrorist, it's a terrorist, right? And I said, Putin fancies himself a flycatcher and Syria a fly trap. The speed of execution confirms that Russia is once again a geopolitical actor that will have to be considered. It's a breathtaking rebound, and I concluded a little bit tongue-in-cheek. President Obama is now probably considering how he can wrestle the oil price to $20 a barrel. Let me put up a photograph of the Aleppo citadel and another one of Aleppo city. I got this quote from an article in Counter Punch: in Ankara and Riyadh, a decent night's sleep must be hard to come by nowadays. What with the prospects of the Sunni state they'd envisaged being established across a huge swathe of Syria slipping away, the stakes involved leave no doubt that the mounting threat of a Saudi-led invasion of Syria speeds the hour when Iran and Russia commit their own ground troops in significant number. The second act of the conflict in Syria is drawing to a close. The third and final act is about to begin. Currency markets: the euro is at 111.60, dollar index when I looked last 96.75, dollar yen 113.80, Swissy 0.9869, the pound 142.69, the Aussie is at 0.7090, India rupee 68.60, South Korean 112.24.83, Rial back over 4.406.78, Egyptian pound 782.89, and the South African rand, when I checked last, was at 15.796. I'll put up a 3-month chart for euro dollar. Draghi sort of dragged it lower, but let's see how long that lasts for. Gold back at 12.05. Remember, we got up to 12.69. I think it's probably headed higher again. Crude oil up marginally after a drop yesterday. I still think all the supply side remains bearish a component, and that Doha didn't achieve anything. Holger tweeted Venezuela credit default swaps. Have a look at the chart, and you'll agree why I was saying in August 2015 the end is nigh for crude oil and oil producers from Caracas to Luanda, from Riyadh to Abuja. I said oil-based economies are going to contract. Currencies which have already collapsed are going to be routed, and Greek-style austerity will be the order of the day. The meltdown is coming. Moving on to sub-Saharan Africa, I like this photograph from RFI. The President Museveni completes his electoral campaign, where now people will be voting, and hopefully will know the result reasonably quickly. He was my guest at Mind Speak in 2011. Very interesting presentation he made. He asked me, where shall I start? That weekend, Bessie J was in the hospital. He'd been pepper sprayed and evacuated. The drama was incredible at the Intercontinental. He turns up 5 hours later. And during the week, he said, where shall I begin? Where shall I begin? I said, start at the beginning. He started with Genghis Khan and the discovery of gunpowder. But some interesting points to note. When Ugandans elect their president on Thursday, Yoweri Museveni will face the toughest electoral test in his 30 years in power. Young voters are fearful for their future. In a country with a history of electoral fraud and rampant corruption, even some Museveni supporters warn an increasingly well-educated youth might turn violent to oust one of Africa's longest-serving rulers if he is suspected of stealing the election. 71-year-old Museveni saying that Uganda's economy appears in good health, growth is still well above 5%. The interesting statistics is that one of the world's fastest growing populations, more than half of Uganda's 39 million citizens, are aged under 16, and another quarter are aged between 16 and 30. And the ranks of the young are swelling rapidly. The UN estimates the population will more than double by 2040 and hit 100 million by 2050. I tweeted yesterday about Kizza Besigye. I said he's not going to win even if he does. Besigye told reporters that the overwhelming enthusiasm for change after 3 decades of Museveni rule has caused panic in the no change camp. So let's keep an eye on what happens there. Dead cities, strike hits Congo as Kabila foes protest. The capital Kinshasa, police and riot gear was stationed at major intersections. Roads were quiet throughout the day. Some shops were closed or opened later in the morning. I'll put up 2 twit pics I found from the Voice of Congo. One is in Kinshasa and the other is Bukavu. The worst drought on record in South Africa is aggravating the ongoing economic slowdown, threatening near zero growth, if not a recession in 2016. This is Moody's. And you remember earlier I'd said South Africa, which is the second biggest economy in Sub-Saharan Africa, will also contract, albeit 0% GDP this year. Let me put up a photograph of the Kyalami racetrack, which I once visited. South African all shares down 2.58% this year. Dollar rand, take a look at this chart. I still think we're going to pop back over 16. Egyptian EGX30 down 15.86% this year, taking a bit of a beating. Nigerian all share down 14.41% this year. Nigerian leaders hope a Twitter campaign to buy local can save its currency. Prominent Nigerian lawmakers, government officials are looking to an unlikely source for a solution, social media, with a Twitter hashtag Buy Niger to grow the Naira. It calls on Nigerians to buy local products to save the Naira and boost the economy. Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index is minus 0.17% this year. Interesting article in Bloomberg Intelligence about Africa's luxury goods market full of untapped promise, saying that basically sub-Saharan African GDP will rise 4.6 on average a year until 2017. That looks a bit high. Global luxury goods sales may reach 405 billion by 2019, up 3.6% annually. Africa, the smallest region for luxury goods, is expected to grow at 5.6% a year. Spending on luxury goods in Africa should rise in line with the expansion of wealth. Knight Frank estimates the number of African millionaires will rise 53% to 258,000 by 2024, the highest growth rate of all regions globally. About 50% of Bloomberg Intelligence's luxury peers have directly operated stores in Africa, albeit in limited locations. This suggests a still under-penetrated retail environment for most luxury brands. Ivory Coast is forecast to have the fastest growth of ultra-high net worth individuals. Saying there's a growing consumer appetite for luxury goods in the under-penetrated African market. Luxury goods retail sales reached 4 billion in 2014. The market may expand 31.2% by 2019. The Kenya shilling is outperforming most African currencies since the start of 2016, and it was doing that in 2015 as well when I wrote my piece, The Teflon Shilling and Other Matters. The Kenya shilling is trading at a fresh 6-month high of 101.78. The Nairobi All Share fell yesterday. It's down 3.75% this year, which is not bad when we compare it with Egypt and Nigeria. And the Nairobi NSE 20 is down 6.22% so far this year. Thanks for stopping by.